The Constitution of Kenya under Section 43 provides for economic, social and cultural rights. And when you talk about economic and social rights, we're talking about, say, the right to education, the right to health, the right to any number of rights within the economic and social rights. Because those rights are protected in the Constitution, and because those rights are guaranteed in the Constitution, this is also to say that we should not have a situation where people do not realize their basic rights. And we mean people should not be going hungry, people should not be going on without healthcare, people should not be going on without any of those things that really would lead to a situation of poverty. Now, what the Constitution says then is, where a person cannot provide for himself or herself and their dependents, there is an obligation on the state to offer them assistance. This assistance refers to that assistance that is necessary to ensure that these basic rights are realized, and that is social protection.
Maisha kangaja, huenda yakarudi. Ya Mola ni mengi, huwezi kuelewa. Leo kwangu sitwazama, na kwako kwa elea.
In a market scenario, and where a lot of goods and services are obtained through the market, and therefore you say that your hard work is what gives you what you have, why should you have to share it? Or we find arguments where people say, but these poor people are just lazy, they are unable to provide. That is it's not true. It's not true to this extent. Yes, your ability to have an income is to a great extent dependent on your ability to interact with the market. But you have people who cannot and should not, in the first instance, for example, provide labor, say children. Do you expect that because you're an adult who's working very hard at your job and earning a decent income, that a child without parents, a child who is an orphan, total orphan, should likewise be put to the same test in terms of their ability to obtain from the market? Not everyone can be expected to derive an income from the market, because there are factors beyond their control that inhibit their participation in the market. It could be owing to age, it could be owing to a disability, it could be owing to environmental factors.
The challenges of the older persons, especially the women, if I can say, they are not economically empowered, and their health is ailing. Some of them are not on pension.
People with mental disorders in this country have been marginalized, neglected, and socially excluded from mainstream development activities. So even when you talk about social protection for people with mental disorders, nobody reasons.
Maybe some of them would have died. And mind you, it might not be illness that might be killing the old person. It might be food.
People with mental disorders have no source of income, that is for sure, because most of them cannot work. So they need social insurance. Social insurance is key to people with mental disorders in terms of health insurance, disability insurance, unemployment insurance, because you see, they don't work. They have no source of income.
Maisha kangaja, huenda yakarudi. Ya Mola ni mengi, huwezi kuelewa.
The Nistiri campaign is a campaign that builds on the sense of care and responsibility that we have always had as a society. Communities would mobilize resources to take care of the most vulnerable, so that, for example, children could be adopted and taken care of in other households. What is the long-term, what is the sustainable solution to this? What mechanisms can we have in place to ensure that it is not just a matter of my benevolence or my good-heartedness, my charity or yours, so that it's not just a matter of personal discretion? What measures are we putting in as a country to ensure that collectively we are taking care of those who cannot provide for themselves? I think that is the big question about Nistiri, and asking where do you come in as a person? What are you doing about it to ensure particularly that the government that you, if you're an adult, that you vote for, the community that you're a member of, puts in place mechanisms, not people, mechanisms that ensure that in the long term the system is taking, nobody gets left behind.
Cash transfer is the money that is put aside by any government or even the partners to help people change their life, especially those who are not working, the elderly people who are not working. And even those who are working, who have worked and got some little money, they may not be in the position to manage what is happening now, especially the economic stress that we have in this country.
That social assistance is also very, very important, because these are people who have no source of income. If they are given, even if it is 2,000 every other month, that goes into helping in terms of their economic needs.
The cash transfer, this is a good initiative. They have changed their life. They can buy food, and others are able even to help the grandchildren to go to school.
Civil society and some of these NGOs have also worked with government to develop models and practices that enable social protection to operate and function. We're talking about things that are actually happening. We're talking about real programs that are maintained and run by government that have enabled and continue to enable children, for example, to receive decent care even after their parents have died. We have programs through which the government supports the elderly to ensure that in their old age they live in dignity. We have programs through which the government provides for people with severe disabilities, so that those who are giving them care and providing for them are supported to ensure that these people live in dignity. It's not about that they should be, it is that they must be, because that is precisely the commitments that they have made as our leaders. I think this country is governed on the basis of the Constitution, and that Constitution recognizes the obligation of the state to provide for people that find themselves in situations where they cannot provide for themselves or their dependents. The significance of social protection is that if we make investments today to protect our most vulnerable, it means that in the future we have a more productive society, which is what we are all working to. We're talking about whether it's Vision 2030 or even the Millennium Goals of 2015, we are more likely to realize them when we have a healthy society, a population that is able to produce and contribute effectively to the economy. Now, we cannot have that position where people are deprived of their very basic rights.
Maisha kangaja, huenda yakarudi. Ya Mola ni mengi, huwezi kuelewa. Leo kwangu sitwazama, na kwako kwaelea. Na kesho twageuza, ni kwako kuna zama.